My name is David. I am a firefighter. I save people's lives every day, but I couldn't save the one person who meant everything to me. Sarah was a nurse at City Hospital. We met when I brought in a patient from a fire. She had kind eyes and a gentle smile. Time stopped when I saw her. Helping others was in our blood. We both lived to save lives. After my shift, I would bring her coffee. She would tell me about her patients. I would tell her about my rescues. We fell in love, slowly, beautifully. Sarah loved sunflowers. She said they always faced the light, like people should always look for hope. We got married in a garden full of sunflowers. It was the happiest day of my life. We bought a small house near the hospital, perfect for starting a family. Everything was perfect. But life had other plans. One night, I got a call. Big fire at an apartment building. When we arrived, flames were everywhere. People were screaming. A mother was crying about her baby still inside. I went in without thinking twice. The smoke was thick, the heat intense. Then I heard it. Sarah's voice on my radio. She was working late at the hospital nearby. She had seen the flames. "David," she said, "be careful. Come back to me." I promised her I would. I always did. The flames were getting worse. The building was old. The fire spread fast. I found the baby's room on the 4th floor. Smoke was everywhere, but I heard crying. The baby was in her crib, scared but alive. I wrapped her in my coat and headed for the stairs. I reached the top and held her down. She was still crying. The baby was in her crib, scared but alive. I wrapped her in my coat and headed for the stairs. That's when I heard another cry, weak, desperate. An old man was trapped in the next apartment. I couldn't leave him. Sarah would never forgive me if I did. She always said every life matters. The baby was safe in my arms. I had to try. "Command, this is David," I spoke into my radio. "I've got a baby and another victim. Need backup." The radio crackled. Sarah's voice came through again. "David, the building structure. It's not stable." I could hear the fear in her voice, but also the understanding. She knew I had to help. The old man was barely conscious when I reached him. The smoke was so thick now, I could hardly breathe. "Stay with me, sir," I said, helping him up. The baby was crying against my chest, the old man leaning on my shoulder. We moved slowly, too slowly. Then I heard it, the terrible sound of wood cracking above us. "David, get out now," my captain's voice shouted through the radio. Sarah's voice followed. "David, please." The ceiling was starting to collapse. We were 3 floors up. I made a choice. I handed my radio to the old man, told him how to use it. Follow my path. Stay low, I said. Then I did something they don't teach you in training. I wrapped the baby tighter in my coat, and I threw her out the window. My partner Tom was waiting below. He caught her perfectly. The old man was moving faster now, motivated by fear. We were almost at the stairs when the building groaned, a deep, angry sound. "I love you, Sarah," I said, knowing she could hear me through the old man's radio. The last thing I heard was her voice. "David, no." Then the ceiling came down. I woke up 3 weeks later in Sarah's hospital. She was there, holding my hand. Her eyes were tired. She hadn't left my side. The baby and the old man were safe, but I had 3rd-degree burns over 30% of my body. My firefighting days were over. Sarah cried when I opened my eyes. Tears of joy, tears of pain. "You stupid, brave man," she whispered. "You promised to come back to me." I tried to smile, but everything hurt. "I did come back," I said softly. "I'll always come back to you." The recovery was long, painful. Sarah took a leave from work to care for me. Every day she brought fresh sunflowers, placed them where I could see them from my bed. "Keep facing the light," she would say. "Keep looking for hope." 6 months passed. The scars healed, but they told a story. Every scar was a reminder of lives saved, of promises kept. I couldn't fight fires anymore, but I could still help people. Sarah suggested I teach at the Fire Academy. "Share your experience," she said. "Save lives by teaching others." She always knew how to keep my spirit alive, how to help me face the light. The baby I saved, her name was Emma. Her parents brought her to visit every month. She would reach for my scarred face without fear, laugh and smile like I was her hero. The old man, Mr. Chen, brought homemade soup, said it would heal both body and soul. But the nightmares came. Almost every night, I would wake up gasping, feeling the weight of the burning ceiling. Sarah would hold me, her touch gentle on my scars. "You saved them," she would whisper. "You saved them both." One night, I found Sarah in our garden, planting sunflowers in the moonlight. She was crying, something I'd never seen her do. "I was so scared," she said. "When I heard the building collapse, I thought I'd lost you forever." I held her close, felt her tears on my shoulder. "I made a choice that day," I said. "But you make that choice every day, staying with me through the recovery, loving me despite these scars." She looked up at me, her eyes shining. "Love isn't a choice," she said. It's who we are. Today, I teach new firefighters. I tell them about courage, about choices, but mostly I tell them about love. About Sarah, who faced her own fires taking care of me. About Emma, who shows me that scars don't matter. About Mr. Chen, who taught me that survival is a gift. In our garden, the sunflowers grow tall, always facing the light. Sarah still brings coffee to my classroom, just like I used to bring it to her hospital. Some of my students notice her. See how she looks at me. They ask about my scars, about that night. I tell them the truth. Sometimes the greatest acts of love look like sacrifice, but real love is what happens after. It's in the quiet moments, the healing touches, the patient smiles, the unwavering faith. Sarah taught me that. Every morning, before I leave for the academy, Sarah touches my scars and smiles. Face the light, she says, and I do, because she is my life. The fire took my old life, but gave me something more precious. It taught me that love isn't in the grand gestures. It's in the gentle ways we save each other, day after day. Emma is 5 now. She brings me drawings of firefighters and sunflowers. Mr. Chen still brings soup, says I'm like a son to him. And Sarah, she makes every scar feel like a badge of honor. Together, we've learned that sometimes the biggest sacrifices lead to the most beautiful love stories. Love isn't always about saving someone from a burning building. Sometimes it's about being there, through the pain, through the healing, through the change. Sarah and I, we didn't just survive. We bloomed like her beloved sunflowers, always turning toward the light, together. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next video.